Welcome to the meeting of the Darien Architectural Review Board. It is May 20th, 2025, and it is 7:03 p.m. Here we have, we have David Humphrey, Christina Hart, Alexandra Lopatinsky, Joe Moreau, Dan Riley, Rebecca Morrison, and Cheryl Green. I am Anya Janis, I'm the vice chair and will be running the meeting today. First up, we need to get a vote to add an agenda item. That is a vote to add Cloud 10 to the meeting to commence after new business and before the lighting review at Heights Crossing. Can I get a show of hands? We need 2/3 to add to agenda. All right. So we'll be adding them. All right, so first up, we've got, we're a little out of order here, so let's do ARB 15-2025. That's 104-108 Old Kings Highway, the apartment facade. So if you can go up and introduce yourself, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good evening. Dan Conley, architect of the project. With me tonight is Sean Shea, the owner. When we met in April, we got some feedback from the board on a few things pertinent to the design. We took a look at the suggestions and adopted the lion's share of them and made a couple other tweaks as well. So I just kind of run down for you the, and I'm assuming everybody remembers the project, so they don't have to go backwards. So basically among the suggestions that the board made were to look at changing the size of the windows, perhaps making the windows on the lower level taller, which we have done. We adjusted the size of the windows in the little indent piece in the middle of the facade. And we also changed the material there so that there was more of a break and kind of made the buildings read as two pieces. So we incorporated all those changes. We had looked at a couple different ways to make the windows larger and so forth, and we kind of concluded that we really like the 2/2 light cuts, and we just prefer to make just taller windows on the first floor if we could. And then some other minor tweaks that we made, which may not even be noticeable, but I actually think the building looks better, is we raised the height of the parapet a little bit, and that was sort of a happy accident, to be honest with you, because I didn't have enough height to cover the penthouse for the elevator, for the overhead room on our elevator. So when I pulled it up to cover the elevator, it kind of made the whole thing look a little better, a little more vertical proportion. We did make a change to the rear facade, which is not going to be apparent from the street, but I do want to go through it with you because my garage, as I had it originally designed, did not meet the code requirements for an open parking garage. And the open parking garage is kind of critical to us because we don't have enough space to handle the infrastructure for an enclosed one. So what we did was just increase the openings principally on the west side of the structure, which is the back, in that lower level. And most of those openings are going to be largely covered by a 6-foot tall fence that will be just 10 feet away from the building at that point. So we don't think it has a whole lot of impact, but I just wanted to mention that we did make that change for code compliance purposes. So that's basically what we did. We kept the material palette. We made an adjustment to the stone. We went from mosaic thin stone veneer to a square and rec stone, which we think looks a little cleaner on this facade. One other minor change, it's really difficult to read in the renderings, but the sash on our windows is white and the trim color is a light gray. So we went to white windows principally because the gray that we were wanting to use was discontinued by the manufacturer.
You have perspective views in the file, right? So I can put them on the screen?
Yes, we do, and I have them up on my board as well.
So I'm going to try to see which one would you like to take a look at first?
Oh my goodness, you're going to tax my brain now.
East would be the west, would be the entrance facade. That would be, that's one of them.
Yeah, that's probably the least appealing one, thanks. This is where you can see that we had to increase the opening on the base of the garage. But we've done that between the buildings and behind the buildings, and you can see how the fence kind of runs along in close proximity. So that's not something that's going to have a great deal of visual impact, but I did the absolute minimum lineal footage of openings that I had to do to meet the code and not mess with the front facade.
Hervé, can you go back to the rendering?
Back to the rendering?
The
The facade?
The facade rendering? The elevation?
The elevation, yeah, sorry.
I think I'm gonna try to be lucky with this computer, but
There we
yes.
go.
This one, yes.
So when I look at that versus what you have in your perspective,
Yep.
the stone is dark and the
Yeah, that's
So-
more of a computer thing. We have a lot of trouble getting the
yeah. So
renderings.
which one is it?
Well, I have a sample board here for you. That's a good photograph of the stone.
I like it better.
So,
Are the samples still the same as last time?
kind of this palette. Same material, just square and rec.
So
Okay,
it's
It's
darker
material.
than the
So it's
render.
dark.
yeah,
It's not white like the.
Well,
Yeah, I was gonna say because I like the dark,
yeah.
Yeah.
the show the darker on the bottom and
Yep,
the.
I do too.
Like-
Yeah, it's native Connecticut stone, so it's the colors we're used to seeing.
So the stone is lighter than the actual duration or whatever it is.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
I like the changes, I think
Yeah.
it much improves the sort of the rhythm of the elevation.
Yeah, I agree. I think there were good suggestions and I like the changes also.
Dan, one question, the openings for the garages from that view,
Yep,
so you meet the minimum requirement for ventilation, is that it? With those openings, can you make anything smaller by any chance?
I can't make them narrower. The
Mhm.
lineal footage I need, I could come up from the
Mhm.
floor.
So I'm thinking just the openings next to the garage entrance, maybe bringing those up like a knee wall or a pony wall. And then
Yeah.
I've seen some projects like that in New Canaan on
We can do that.
Forest where they did that, and it's just like a peek in versus a big silhouette.
It would help screen the cars.
It would,
Yeah, we
yeah,
could do
I've
that.
seen people do like slat fences or something on top of that as well, yeah, just to hide that.
Yeah, that's certainly something that we could do.
Okay,
So linear footage, we're at the minimum in terms of the actual square footage of the openings. We have some
Yeah.
room to wiggle.
like 18 inches probably, what do you think?
I'd probably come up a little taller. than
Come
that.
taller, yeah, that's your, yeah, do that,
Couple feet.
okay.
Get it up above the top of that little plant material there.
No, would that just
Exactly,
be a
Yeah.
exactly.
Would that just be a continuation of the stone, or would it be set in a little bit from the stone to allow those openings to read as a rectangle, but then have the lower element?
Yeah, I could set it back, but on a lot of room with my parking layout there,
Yeah.
so the wall's a foot
Yeah.
thick, I could set it back maybe, 2
2 or
inches.
3 inches, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
just
just
give
thinking
it
of a
a
little bit
shadow
of
line, yeah.
a little bit of a break, yeah, would,
no, we could do. We could do that with your block and the
Yeah.
veneer on.
yeah.
Yeah,
Not on this plan, but discussed previously was your landscaping plan.
Yeah.
Is that something that you'll be revisiting or doing separately, or?
Yes, we spoke today with Matt Pop, the landscape architect, and you know we have a parallel application
Yep.
going with EPC and we're
Yep.
being
Yeah.
kind of pulled in a couple of different directions. So Matt's comment was, I know that the Leucothea as a plant and the holly were two plants that you would like to see substituted, and
Yep.
and he had no objection to
problem.
substituting either one.
Okay,
He was thinking on the Leucothea to go to rhododendron species as an alternative to that. He likes the holly, but he's not averse to making a substitution there.
okay,
And on the subject of street trees, we're going back and forth a little bit
With
with the
EPC.
EPC. We'd like to do it, we're advocating for it, if they let us.
I spoke to EPC as well
Okay.
on this.
Yeah.
And it was originally suggested maybe on the north side, they would have the space for it. But I think it will defer to EPC on the site. So I did follow up with them.
Okay. Yeah, because
Um,
virtually our whole site is in their regulated area, so.
Yeah, yes. Okay, so I think, approve, so, favorable report, and I'll include the pony wall in the details, on that, and also, Hervé, how do you wanna handle the landscaping? Do I need to see an additional plan for the substitutes?
When do you think
or-
you have the,
We're happy to work with staff. As I said, there's still a lot of back and forth with EPC and,
what could be part of the EPC condition for the permit?
For
It
the
doesn't
permit.
necessarily have to be in the ARB. If you're
Okay.
you're
Yeah, I'm
confident
comfortable with
enough that this is gonna get
That's
done,
Okay,
They
yeah.
don't-
yeah,
into the
and
permit.
we're happy to come back to you, just
Okay.
sort of keep you apprised of what we're doing. But
Yeah.
we did address the
That's fine,
comments.
okay, wonderful, okay, great,
so
favorable
we
report.
can do a
Thanks.
favorable report just with those knee walls.
I don't think you need to submit a PDF for a certificate. The knee walls are just
Yep.
going to be part of the writing.
Okay, great,
All right,
Thank
very
you.
good, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
all right,
Nice
so
project.
next up, we've got ARB 16/2025. It's PL 2563 in Viewpoint. That is P-Vault at 326 Heights Road, a wall and a blade sign.
Okay, hi everyone, my name's Kevin Kane, owner of Hungwell Signs.
Go on that one.
Yeah, the latest one would be great. And we're proposing our new signs for P-Ball. So what we want to,
Oh, no, we had.
what we want to do with P-Ball is, originally we talked about doing individual letters and drilling holes through the wall. And we were trying to get away from damaging the wall by building this box and have raised letters coming off it. The 45 inches represents the area above the window to the top sill. So we're hoping it'll blend in nicely, with the same color background as the facade. And once the letters are raised, they'll be backlit. I don't know if you've probably seen Seymour's letters that I did, but we're looking for the same effect on that. We didn't want to go push through because we've done so much of that. Try to do something a little bit different. We want to contain all the wiring in the box.
Just a little lighter.
Just a 3-inch deep box. And because it's the same height as the over the window, I think you probably won't see it at all. You might see a little bit shading on the left and right of it, but we'll use the same colors, the gray.
So the lighting is mounted in the back of the letter.
Exactly, inside the
and it
letter,
shines towards the wall.
behind the letter here,
And
on
it
the inside of the letter.
creates this silhouette.
On the inside, this is the back of the letter, inside the letter is just a clear acrylic.
Right here, okay.
And the lights are on inside and they'll shine against the wall.
So it kind of
And
just
the-
glows.
The letter itself is made of an opaque,
Right, it's aluminum, painted white aluminum.
opaque white aluminum,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So the face won't illuminate, obviously.
So, I think,
Can you go back?
Sure. So this one is different. So this first, let's talk about.
all right, let's talk about all of
that's the
them, yeah.
one- That's the one on the front.
Correct, that's what it's,
Back to the
that's
left
what,
of the panel.
that's
Oh,
what
got
we're
it, so-
proposing, what it'll look like once
Blends
it's
in,
up on the
okay.
wall. And that's the box right there.
Now this one is a little different.
This one we talked about last time for the entrance.
And is that's lit or not lit?
We'd like to have it lit, but we're not sure how you'd like to go about the inside.
So we weren't sure last time if that.
Kevin,
Overhang
is that frame of that door, is it metal, like a shiny, like brushed aluminum?
John, is it AZAC? Sorry, John Picard. The frame, you just say AZAC frame with the round window, right?
The white?
That's just
No,
AZAC.
the gray.
Gray is metal.
The shingle or
The storefront, that's,
Oh.
That's
Better, yeah.
aluminum, right?
That's lit.
yeah.
Yeah, it looks like
That's
a
aluminum.
restaurant house.
And the shake is Hardwood.
I'd love to see it with the background being aluminum.
So what is the sign made of?
Aluminum
Black
box.
painted?
Yep,
You
painted
know,
black.
these carved out
This
letters?
is their logo.
They
It's
look
a
like
black-
they're carved out letters.
No, this will be a flat cut. If we can do push through, that'd be great. If not, we'd be happy with flat cut, maybe 1/2 inch solid aluminum letters mounted to the
Would
to the
you,
So
panel.
the black and white is their brand color?
Yeah.
Their brand color?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's black and white, they're brand color, but it would be like, my fear is that, go back to the main facade. The main
The what?
facade, the main facade.
You want to go back to
The
the
front.
Number one.
Yeah.
Front door, that one.
My issues is that unless it matches really, really well, it's just gonna look off. So like, to me, it would be, it's a Pilates, is it Pilates or what is it?
It's obviously it's a workout place. So I don't know how to really describe it. It's along the lines of Pilates, but there's no
It would
machines.
look really cool if it was brushed aluminum in the background and then the white pushed through. I mean, but if it's black, it's black, but I think that unless it perfectly matches that front exterior.
Let's say-
You're never gonna see them though.
you
Like
know,
together.
They're not, they're,
I know, but I'm saying the main sign, unless it's the exact same color, then you just look, it's gonna look slightly off.
you mean same color as the painted ephes behind
It
it?
might be a little bit different. Now, would you be open to it being black?
In the front.
I think we saw it in black,
I
didn't
think we did originally, we did a push through of black,
we? Yeah,
and then we went to the individual letters.
I'd rather
it was
see,
a lot.
what?
It was, I mean, it was, having that background black was a lot on this.
There's a lot,
Yeah.
that's, again, that's
Yeah,
their, they have certain signs that they accept to the brand.
Okay.
What if it was
And
the
black
gray,
and white
what if
is
it was
one
the
of
gray that was above it?
To match it.
The darker gray?
The darker gray?
Yeah. I just feel like it just, even like with that rendering, you just see, to me, if
If
it's
it's the
not,
same paint color, why would, I mean, it,
I don't know. I just feel like you just see that, the line of the, like, it just doesn't look like, it doesn't blend in enough. For me, it doesn't blend in enough to like,
We did
You
a
can
lot,
just see
not a
that.
lot, but we did quite a few, I did quite a few signs at Darien Commons where we matched the facade, the building color,
it's
and
fine.
it kind of looks,
Can we go back to the Heights sign? The Heights, on, yes, that one. So is there, I mean, I guess the point of the box, the light box, is to decrease the amount of damage that's happening to the stucco, right?
exactly.
Instead of doing the big box, because the light boxes, when they're white on white, you know, like Bruce or Johnny's was, like you just don't see them because they're, you know, on white fascia. But I do think that the texture change from the stucco to a light box like this will be visible. I believe Of Me had that bar behind.
Yeah, I did that, I installed that one, so yeah. no.
Would something like that,
or
or
is
is that
just a
the,
single bar?
the
and
single
letters
bar?
are mounted to the bar?
yeah, so the lights, then the letters are mounted to the bar. But I don't know how the shadows will throw.
If you're open to that type of raceway, that's fine. We tried
I mean,
to-
I think my preference for lighting this would be, you know, to keep it very chic and clean, so like the Seymour's where it would be mounted directly to, you know, to the facade with the halo lit, you know, at a 3,000 to 4,000 Kelvin at a very light lumen, so it would just barely glow. That would be where my preference would be on this. I'm worried that even if we mesh the color, the texture change, and then the light box looks, you know, not as luxurious or.
It'll look clunky.
Yeah, it's not gonna look as nice as it could if it was just the P-wall onto the stucco.
And we could, oh, you're still talking about maybe doing the raceway like for Of Me?
Or,
Yeah.
yeah, so doing the raceway, so
Yeah,
we
we
don't
could
have
paint the
to.
raceway like we did for Of Me, to blend into the background.
Yeah, that'll be less noticeable than that whole box being.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the size of the box, the fact that it's projecting,
Yeah.
it's, yeah, it won't blend in as much as,
Right.
but even if it was the same color, it's,
That's an easy
I
fix.
think, yeah, I totally agree with it, more of the.
And we do a
raceway.
low profile box, we don't need, you know, we don't, certainly don't need a deep raceway, but it makes it look a little cheesier, cheaper,
Mhm.
so, John?
How many holes? Just gotta keep it 2 holes.
The raceways.
Well, we have one hole that goes in the building that carries all the electric in, that's one hole, and then just screws for mounting it to
2
the wall.
screws.
There'll have to be at least 4, because you got a box, you gotta secure it to the building. But they're not big holes,
You're not
they're,
gonna have,
But
Not
if
gonna
you're
be different
getting
than that.
away, you're not gonna use the box.
It won't be any different than that.
correct.
No, the raceway is still a box.
yeah,
It's
so
just
it's just a
small.
bar.
It's
Rather
a
than a
smaller
box.
raceway, yeah,
Is it
And that would
just
be
1
4
bar,
screws,
so
too.
2
One bar.
screws?
one bar.
1 bar.
2 screws per end.
Less holes.
2 screws at each.
Yeah.
end.
Yeah, it's gotta be secure.
Less holes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's gonna be
You
like.
can't go anywhere,
Don't
especially through the ephes, you gotta be able to get into
Yeah.
the structure
I
behind
would
it.
have,
Yeah.
gosh, 1, 2, 3,
You should just blocking back
Really,
there.
I sure hope so.
8 screws.
You should.
There's
yeah.
sheathing at least, but you don't know with the sheathing, if that's
Yeah.
enough.
I like that idea. I wasn't sure whether you would prefer that as opposed to the
It's
bigger.
cleaner. It's a nicer idea.
Right, so this sign, how about this one? Can we make a?
We're trying to come up with an idea without, again, going through holes.
What doesn't help in the picture is the fact that the ceiling is unfinished here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to feel the space because now it's like, a whole bunch of colors. This is probably white probably finished now.
It's wainscoting, it's
Wain-
white wainscoting.
Oh.
It's
I can
white
update the
wainscoting,
picture.
so it's almost like if you had your entire plate, take the top of the door, you know, from here
Oh, yeah.
to here, and then just the letter, so then you'd float this as part of the opening, and
Oh,
then
that's
have
kinda
your
cool.
sign in the middle of it, instead of having yet another frame
Mhm.
in that tiny space.
Mhm.
That's a
Maybe
good
that's a
idea.
suggestion,
Mhm.
not on the
But
board, but,
would that panel be, are you suggesting that panel be black with white letters on it?
yeah. That way you kind of read the whole.
Yeah, it would feel like a portal going in.
Yeah.
I think we'll make them happy too, because that's their color scheme.
Yeah.
So last time we asked, when you brought up the lighting, if the ceiling will be lit.
Yeah.
Where the wainscoting is.
John, is there lighting in the wainscoting,
Quite a few,
in
there's
the roof?
In the ceiling?
30 down lights.
Oh, wow, okay.
Oh, so you really don't need lighting in that sign if you have that much lighting in that ceiling.
And then we have some sconces too, but,
It- Then if you have that much lighting, I would not support lighting that sign, because it's gonna,
Yeah. it'll be too
Unless you
easy.
had one like little museum type, like that just kind of, like a little
Like a
strip
little
that
pin
shines
light.
towards
You might want
the
that.
sign.
Yeah.
And it would stay white and on black, but just have a
But
little
how do-
ceiling.
No.
but how do we know
Puck light.
that, how far the other sort of lighting for the rest of the,
Well, that's, we don't have a plan, and
Yeah.
that's gonna be talked about later.
yeah.
That would
I-
help, that would help.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, not knowing where the lighting is, my recommendation would be not to light that sign and use the lighting of the building to provide the lighting.
Yes.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I agree
Yep.
with that.
Agreed.
and I think that might carry with the other tenants in that area too.
It's great. So everybody likes that idea? All right, Kevin, can you put together the new,
I'll get the
Plan.
updated photograph and
yep,
the
and
lighting.
then it'll be an administrative approval.
What about the
I'm
blade
sure the
sign?
But-
details.
so
Oh, did
just-
we like the plate? I thought we had liked it last time.
Yeah,
Do
we did.
still like
We
it?
were-
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, just,
Yeah,
just making
Yeah.
sure.
Let's not revisit.
Yeah.
We did like it last time.
yeah, I think.
Update drawings and,
Yeah.
yeah, read
So
the
can we
rest of it.
just go back to the elevation? We're saying that the black background is gonna fill that space above the door frame,
Right.
but the letters will stay the same size
Yeah.
and, okay.
Yeah,
Just wanna make sure we're all
And
on
then some
the
light,
same page with
some
that.
light.
they'll keep it to scale,
Yep.
wherever they're allowed, yeah.
Okay.
And some little puck lights.
Yeah, because if there are lights right above it, then we're fine, but unless they get angled.
The lighting.
Evolve,
If
evolve.
there's some recess in it.
Sorry, I had
Piece of
to,
cake, that was a
I had
good
to
one.
do that one.
That's good.
All right, okay,
Okay,
good,
so it's certificate.
perfect,
Okay.
yep, all right. So Kevin, you can stay up there, because we're on to new business now. It's gonna be ARB 19-2025, PL 2581 in the viewpoint system. It's garden catering at 320 Heights Road, one wall sign and one blade sign.
Okay, again, Kevin Kane with Hung Wall Signs. I updated these drawings. I talked with the owner. And again, we don't know, we would like to do maybe, we're proposing an edge lit if you go down one. We're trying to stay away from the push through, right? We don't like that, really. We've done enough of that. But I don't know if you've seen Naya. I did push through, I did edge lit on Naya. It's kind of a cool look. It's not overbearing. It's kind of nice and clean.
Yeah,
It stands out as much as it needs to for that sign in that area. So I think, I was hoping that the edge lit would be acceptable. And we like to, one of the problems is let people know what his business is about, because it's not in his name. So we'd like to have that logo up there, if that's possible.
What, is the logo lit, edge lit, or as
I
well
would,
as?
I would edge like that, yeah,
So the
Just the
circle would
circle.
stick out?
Yeah.
just the circle, not the, not the.
yeah.
Not the chicken, just the circle.
Not the
And then
chicken.
garden catering, okay.
So can you go back to the, again, the elevation that has all three signs on it? How do you guys feel about the signs, like being at different elevations along that elevation?
Correct, that's exactly, the Darien catering.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Do you
garden.
guys think so? Yeah, okay, good.
That should be all.
I wasn't sure if it was just me.
You want me to, is
I think-
garden
I
catering
think-
higher?
It's,
Yeah.
it's lower than Chipotle and the P-valve.
It's
I
a
mean,
little tight.
feels
You
off.
want to bring people down?
No,
You'll keep it on the
bring
side?
the garden catering up a little.
Move that up.
Oh, yeah, that's great, yeah.
Yeah,
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 gives it a little more presence.
a little too,
Same here.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
too low
having
on
some
this.
of the
Yeah.
facade material underneath it.
Yeah,
is-
right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
We'd like to do, he'd like to do this blade sign, and again, it's not, you know, if he can, because just,
Does he need one with the signs on both?
well, when people are
On the
looking
corner?
towards Heights Road, he thought it'd be, you know, they want every sign possible, so.
Hmm.
So he has, what, he has 2 signs, because he's
Two
on
signs.
corner property?
Yeah.
Well, that's, the regulation does allow that if you face
Yeah.
it, well,
Yep.
it's not a street though, so this is where it starts to become a little interesting, because if you're a public right of way versus a street, so if you have 2 street frontage, you allow 2 wall signs, but this is not exactly a street, but it's all as per determined by the ARB, so if you guys, you know,
And it is
agree
their
with this-
entrance, so that's their entrance.
Do we have a
so-
plan to see like where that corner is? I'm just
Yeah,
curious.
I had it geez, it might
I'm
be on my
just-
previous, I know I had a bird's eye view of the roads right here.
I'm just looking, like,
Right on the
if
corner.
I'm a car and I'm approaching that, I'm gonna see that corner, right?
I was
I-
thinking we would have it on the other side.
Yeah, there's a lot of signage going on
There
that
we are.
corner. Yeah, okay.
Maybe bring
So
down
that's-
towards the back of the building?
Yeah, but this is the corner we're talking about,
There we go.
right?
Yeah,
And-
right there.
Oh, yeah,
They go all the way in, that's
Uh,
interesting, so
yeah.
their entrance is right
Yeah,
there
that's
at
the
the corner.
entrance, and that,
And what
yeah,
happens
correct.
back there, nothing?
I think it's an employee entrance, or not for anyone, if it, I know what you're saying about there's a lot of signs in that
Yeah.
corner.
It did,
If it's possible to throw one in the back, just even if you go a little bit smaller, or,
so this is part of their space too.
yeah, it goes all the way down to the back.
yeah, and the next bay as well.
Yeah,
So that's kinda weird.
I mean, I feel like the
maybe
main
on
sign should
the
be
opposite end of the
doors,
building.
maybe
Garden
get rid of
catering
catering, shove it over.
goes
Yeah.
further, yeah.
So what about if you move that sign instead of it being over the door, put it in between the 2 windows?
That's what we're talking
Exactly,
about.
yeah,
I think it'd be better, actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then keep the blades.
That's a
on.
Keep the
pretty-
blade
keep the
sign
blade
there.
Important corner,
Yeah.
and you
But that's
don't wanna
their
lose
entrance.
sight of that
But you
stonework.
could put the-
That's okay.
But you could put the blade sign there.
I'll leave the blade sign
Yeah,
where it
leave
is.
the blade sign, but move
Yeah.
the rectangular sign
Right there.
to, yeah.
Is that gonna be obvious where to go in?
Yeah, so.
Yeah,
I don't-
because
I
when you
don't
get
want
close
that.
to it, you can't come into the window.
Yes, true.
Or if we get rid of the blade
There's
sign.
also,
Right.
there's
And then
also
the blade
another
sign will
door.
show you.
There's another door in the back of the building,
Is there?
An,
But for-
an entrance?
not an entrance for,
Yeah,
customers.
it's not,
No, it doesn't want.
that's where his back of the house is.
Yeah. You can imagine he'd like get over the doorway, the entrance, if we get rid of the blade sign.
It's only interesting because where his clientele are gonna be parking is
In the back.
in the back,
Right.
so he's really taking them on a,
Do we move
Sure.
it to the right and then maybe keep the blade sign there and, like you said, move it over one?
Yeah. I feel like there's just a lot of sign on that
Especially
corner.
because you
Just
got
get
that
rid of the-
corner.
Question is, do you need it on this
Right, maybe you
side?
don't need it there.
I just
feel
don't
like
think you need
might
it.
though, just to balance the
Yes.
Chipotle, the P-ball, and the garden.
I think it needs the balance on there too.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a vertical.
We can
element.
take the blade sign, put them in the back, put it, any place in the back of the building. Make it
But
smaller.
but if it's not an entry point for customers,
It's
it'll
more
be,
of like a,
it'll be misleading if you put a blade sign
yeah,
there.
like getting more of a finder.
I mean, if you had a wayfinding sign, but that's a lot, again, a lot of sign.
Wait, does Chipotle have a blade sign?
I don't think they proposed anything yet.
And P-ball apparently has one in the interior, right?
At their entry point on the other side.
Right, so
Yeah.
I say no blade sign.
For garden catering.
On this side, you mean?
No blade sign.
I'm assuming, I'm just guessing that's what Chipotle's gonna look like. I just downloaded their.
Yeah.
That was helpful, thank you, because seeing it in the context of it all,
I see, I
I
see.
think
I think it's, again, a
I
location
think
that,
I'm with
doesn't
you,
really
it's
need
just
a
a lot
blade
of
sign.
sign.
It's just not
Yeah.
needed.
On that corner.
Yeah,
signs.
But then do you keep the wall sign above the entry?
Yeah, I think, yep.
It makes sense over the doorway,
Yeah.
All right, so
especially with
let's-
the siding.
so
Get
what do
rid
we-
of the blade sign and keep the signs where they are.
Yeah, but raise them a
Raise them
smidge.
up.
Yeah, we'll keep it all.
So keep both of these blade sign moves, or do we move, does it move?
No.
Or does it go?
You
No,
may want to, maybe if we could hang something on the inside window, maybe you just, what he wants to do is let people know he's like, has the best nuggets around.
That's
It's
a-
part of his, it's part of his.
Yeah,
thing.
I mean,
Just
I
the-
mean,
If we could hang something inside
everybody
the
goes
building.
there, they go for the
Oh,
cones, you go there
Oh,
for
yeah,
like
I've
those
never
mashed
been
potato
They
cones.
grew up on
The
this.
nugget wraps. Maybe we could do something on the inside.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, that's
Great.
where I'll get there. I mean, I know it's,
What if you
I
have,
guess I spent too
what
much
if
time
you
in Greenwich.
move this sign to
Oh, it
the,
is?
to between the window and put a hanging
Oh.
round blade sign right above the door?
I don't think it, I just don't think that sign would look in
Like
place
it
on
lost
that
in
siding.
You don't?
I
Okay,
don't.
you're the sign professional, so.
That's right.
um,
It's a great stone, it's beautiful.
yeah, and he can always call out his chicken nuggets in the window, you know?
Right, that's
That could-
right.
that
That's
could
what I
be
was
inside.
saying.
Yeah, that could be inside.
Right, that's what I was thinking as a replacement of the blade sign idea.
Covering up a lot of stone. It's got two locations in the middle of the stone.
Expose the stone. Yeah. It's beautiful.
That corner is a feature architecturally of the whole.
That's your
it's the
corner.
entrance to the complex.
Yep.
I personally rather not have it on that corner on that stone. The front I get,
Yeah.
it's gotta have it out front.
I mean,
Could he hang it?
I was gonna say
Inside?
hang it under, right above the door.
That's what Henry was just saying, I like that idea.
Mhm. I like that idea.
Oh, is that what you said, Herb?
Classy.
I said, yeah, something
Right there.
That's
below,
like-
below the stone here,
Oh, on the
either
inside.
the logo, which
Yeah,
is
put the
kinda
rounded-
cool, the
Hang it
chicken,
underneath.
Yeah,
or that
Line
sign,
it up.
but if the logo was there, then you could maybe put the sign here, if you
I
really
don't
wanted
think you
another
need
sign,
all
but
of
if,
it.
maybe
Too
that's
much.
just
Too
enough to have something underneath
I
it.
think if we can Bluetooth something underneath
No,
the
it's
stone, we don't
overkill.
need that sign probably.
Probably
Right.
not.
Yeah,
Right.
How far in is the door? Like how deeply set in is that?
It looks like a
Two-
good, good
3
eight,
inches.
8 inch, oh no, it's more than that, look at the,
Right, maybe 3 feet.
because the way he did, hold on, I'm just gonna zoom
It might be a nice option, put something over the
in. I
doorway.
mean, look, you
on the
got
inside.
some meat here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like that
get rid of
idea.
that.
I like
Bring
that
it
idea.
down over the transom, have it hang there.
Right, get it off the stone.
Yeah,
bring
get
it
it
on.
on stone.
Just kind
maybe
of,
this down.
But use the same wall sign, just repositioned.
is it the same wall sign or is it the round
I think it's
blade
round.
type sign?
Let's have the round
I
sign.
think the sign is good, you get some light through it.
I like the
So,
round.
so the round sign is hanging,
Yeah,
Right,
facing you.
right.
Okay. Would it be lit in any way?
well, you could play a little bit
Like,
with the chicken.
is there a light in that
Yeah,
alcove?
like-
I
Some
imagine
transparency
there's gotta
of
be
the
There's
some
chicken
gotta
sort
be
of
some
lighting,
lighting at
chicken
the front
source.
of the
Yeah.
door.
Be nice to do
Without
something.
being
Yeah.
a shiny light, you could have the chicken
Double sided, you come
read.
out the door, you see it.
See it from
You
inside
could do
too.
something pretty cool.
Yeah. It's
You
just
see,
a cool
you see
logo.
what I'm saying, you can even, you have the edges if you want, but you could also have a little light through the chicken.
Yeah,
Having glow.
and it won't be classified as a blade sign, so we could,
That's right.
Correct.
That's it.
Look at Karen's smile.
probably got that on camera, but
It's a hanging sign,
hanging
It's
sign,
no
yes.
longer a
I like
blade
that
sign.
idea. There you go.
can be any shape.
Okay.
Do we know what the, again, because we don't know what the architectural lighting is there, do we want to say no lighting of that sign and use the architectural lighting to,
Until we find out what the lighting.
Yeah,
okay.
because otherwise it's, if you have lighting there that's architectural, it's gonna wash out the
Yeah,
sign, so.
okay. We'll wait and see what the lighting is.
I don't think he's gonna get much sconces or anything on that stone.
No, I'm thinking in the
Above it.
soffit,
Okay.
lighting in
Oh,
the
Some
soffit,
downlights.
downlights.
If there's any lights up there.
Are there any
The
downlights?
landlord is here, but about soffit lighting, I don't think he's got anything there. The stone turns. I
Oh.
think the stone turns here.
Oh, so there isn't
even
a
maybe a lintel,
Transition,
I
or
hope
maybe
not.
a steel,
like a steel
No lights
lintel.
up there.
so you're not gonna get much light.
You're not sure, okay.
So there's no lighting for the entry of the door?
I actually don't know about that.
I'd be surprised if there's not lighting there.
Yeah,
I
I
have a
don't know
look.
there is.
No.
Maybe there are
Okay, so
sconces
we'll-
on the side.
I
of
could
the stone.
redraw it and send it in and take a look at it.
Yeah, at this point, because we don't know what the lighting is, I would say no lighting
see.
on this sign until we can better understand
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, so one wall sign, one other sign hanging above.
Yep.
Well, sorry, hanging above.
And lighting to be determined.
Okay, cool,
Okay.
great.
Thank you.
Alright.
Thanks, Kevin.
Is that it?
Thanks,
Okay.
Kevin.
Any
And
further
then last new business is ARB 18/2025. That's the PL 2580 in Viewpoint, Northeast Hardwood at 170 Roton Avenue. Yep, introduce yourself.
I'm Andre Argano, I own Northeast Hardwood, and I'd like to put some garage doors on my building. Excellent. I don't know where you guys would like to start, but I sent in some plans. Hi, everybody, how are you?
Good, thank you, Andre. So which one are we gonna take a look at? Garage door, the last drawing,
Wherever you guys, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
just see what it looks like.
That's the door, the planned door itself. I made
Look at the
one change.
elevation. I think
You have a
there's
rendering?
Yeah, there was a rendered view, or a Photoshop view.
Visual.
The visual aid one?
There we go.
Yeah, that's a little, like what it actually looks like.
Uh-huh.
And I want to put a herringbone brick on. So right now there's, as you can tell, this shrubbery, I kind of cut it down a little bit because I have to get the slabs, the actual pieces of wood in and out of, really I'm using the front door right now because these things are so rotted, they don't actually work. It's just sort of like cedar that's been sort of drilled into the building perpetually for the last however many years. So right now what I'm hoping to do is be able to drive a truck in directly to these doors, through this opening, future hopefully opening, and then do the woodwork on one side, and then move the piece of wood to the other side, finish it on the other side of the shop, and then have a finish table come out the other side. So it would be a little bit more of a production-friendly environment, also increase the safety of the workshop itself and sort of the use of the space. I'd also hope to be able to grind down a little bit of that sidewalk right there so that the truck, my truck going in and out wouldn't have such a disturbance basically as it sort of mounts that sidewalk.
Andre, you may have to want to talk to the Planning and Zoning Commission for some of this access to, through a sidewalk public, and what you're thinking about is different, very different in terms of use
Okay.
from the front part of that property, so I would suggest meeting with Jeremy, Fred, and probably Mr. Olvany to make sure you can do what you're thinking, because
Okay.
that, bringing a truck on that road, which is a pretty busy road, backing up and, you know, how is the truck gonna be able to fit? Does it actually fit completely off the road?
Yes.
So you'll have to do some site plan view and things, but we can always take a look at this as a concept, but I think that that's gonna need to be officially approved.
Okay. Understood.
Okay.
Is that something that, I mean, are we able to talk about the garage doors now?
Sure, yeah.
So, I mean, at the very minimum, if that entryway doesn't work, I'll still need the doors to get the slabs and wood in and out and everything. It'll just be through a sort of a different entry
Right.
point,
You
basically.
may have to put your trucks on each side of the building and then bring them manually out to the side, not straight in with the backing of the truck in and out, which I can see could be a problem.
It can be done. It's more work and it's sort of less safe, but we could put the protocols in place, have the equipment in place. It's definitely more work. But my original idea was when I was here last, a portion of the objection was that my trucks would be blocking the entrance and the exit way to the animal hospital and back. And this would alleviate any sort of blockage of that 24 hours a day. And I'm pretty good with a truck, and I don't think that, I mean, I have done it once now. It wasn't the best, but you know, if I do it at times of the day that isn't, you know, 8 in the morning and 5 at night, there aren't a lot of cars that are, like, you know, obviously in the way there, if I pick my timing right. And then I'm completely out of the way of the sidewalk because the truck actually evaporates entirely into the building, and then I do my business and then I get out of there. But obviously that's not the conversation we're having here.
I don't
And I'm
think
not
we
trying
could
to
give you
convince you
direction on
that.
curb cuts and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
It's a pickup truck.
Yeah, pickup truck, silver pickup truck. But I guess, so my hope is And just to get your approval on, gain your approval on putting the garage door right there and right there, almost in the exact same space of this and this right here. Almost, it's exactly to the molding, exactly to the molding. I think it's 92 up. I think it's like 106 or 108 wide.
And what kind
inches.
of, are they glass?
Yeah, glass and
So
then
you can
Frost.
see in, so they
Exactly.
almost, they become a storefront.
it is
That's cool.
That's
more
cool,
storefront.
I like that.
Cool. It matches the exact glass doors across the way. I took that diagram from the shop across the street, so my glass doors would match theirs exactly. Although I like the black mullions, I don't like the silvery mullions.
I was just gonna ask that.
I don't like, it's just cheap looking. I mean, for just to have them coated, powder coated in black is, I think
Yeah.
it's another $100 per garage door.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I like them, I think it's great.
Great.
Is
I
the
think
front, is your front door changing too?
I'd make it nicer, but it wouldn't change in
Okay.
like the aesthetic of it. It would just be a nicer door with the same 6
Yeah.
window panes, mullions, traditional colonial look.
How do these open? They roll up or
Roll
roll
up
up?
inside.
Over.
Okay, like a garage door.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, will it be the 5 sections as is shown there?
So-
Going back to the rendering, I thought it was 4.
You're actually totally right. So what ended up happening was I had to change, so because it's 92 inches, not 96 inches, the panels, I had to reduce one panel. So,
Okay.
so it is one less panel. But that was just because I had the dimensions wrong. But yeah,
That's okay.
And then the rendering, you have a sign above on the overhang?
that's already there.
That's there.
Yeah.
Big
It's a nice
piece
sign.
of wood.
Big piece, singular
Big,
piece of
beautiful
wall.
piece of wood.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
And then the brick herringbone, what I had planned was just like a cross patterning, and then on the exterior right here, I was gonna maybe do a Belgian block, just like 1 or 2 next to each other, or I can do the brick stacked 2 by 2 or 4 by 4 across, so there's like a barrier around. I don't really care
Yeah,
which it is.
I wouldn't add another element,
Brick.
stick with the brick.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I like that
But I
better
like the
too.
herringbone, yeah.
And that would be in place of the shrubs and the
Yeah.
asphalt that's kind of there between the
Exactly.
concrete sidewalk and the
If you
building.
look, it's gross. I mean, and it's disheveled and it's all on different platitudes or planes or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just clear all of that with a Bobcat and then start anew. I mean, I'd go, sandstone and then work up, and then I would concrete them in, just because that way, in the winter, they won't crack ever. It's
As long as your bedding is well installed.
Frost line.
I'm sorry.
As long as the support, what's the word I'm trying to?
Subfooting.
Sub,
Yeah, footing. The
Yeah.
subfooting.
Yeah, below the frost wall.
I can't speak English.
Substrate.
Thank you, that's the word I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Is well set, otherwise it will crack.
I think it's pretty well tampered down, but I will do gravel and then I can get a tamper, and
Okay.
I don't think it's too difficult. This is
I'm not.
Well,
Yeah.
if it's
So
brick on stone dust,
standard-
when you compact the stone dust, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, as
But
long as
then-
you're compacting. It's, the standard is 3 to 4 inches of trap rock, and then, if you're doing concrete, like a 4 inches with rebar of concrete, and then the brick on top of that into concrete.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just going to do a little bit of gravel below the concrete. It just helps with water
Yeah.
in the long run. If I lay
Yeah.
a 2-inch layer down.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, I mean, I like it, I think you're
Good improvement.
improving the building.
Yeah.
I
So,
agree.
yeah, that's great.
It will be better, I promise. You
Um,
can't get much worse.
Wonderful, so, favorable report on the, windows, and good luck with the,
So,
with the,
Yeah,
the
with the curb
Truck-
cut.
truck
planning, with the
access.
curb cut and planning and zoning. But, yeah, great, thank you.
Thank you. Do you guys vote, or is that it?
Nope, that's it, we all like it.
All right.
I mean, we could have voted, when's the last time we voted on something?
I think I'll just,
Yeah.
All right, thanks. Do I
great.
file a building permit for the garage doors?
So, that's interesting. There is no real structural component to this because it's already a garage door. So you're not creating a lintel, you're not reinforcing the structure,
I like where you're going with this.
right? Yeah, so I think the biggest obstacle is really the use of the sidewalk and the idea of changing the access. That's your planning and zoning. But after that, we can talk with Mike Beatty about it, but I really think that's just not much of a building permit. I mean, if you're not changing any structure, the only thing, we don't typically require building permits for driveways.
Okay.
So you can stretch that this brick sidewalk is,
Was a driveway. at
the
one
only
point.
thing is if the brick extends in, wherever it stops, you're gonna have to define. I think you should talk to Public Works. That is really like one of your first conversations is Public Works.
Okay.
And then planning and zoning if you wanna be able to back in and out.
That's
If you
just,
need to kind of bring the curb cut down.
Yep.
But the rest I think is just aesthetic, so.
I don't have to bring the curb cut down, but I'm just saying, in the future, it would be a
They
better
may
thing.
make you bring the curb cut down.
I would think,
Okay.
if I'm gonna be going over it.
Right.
Quick question, is there a curb cut to the left?
There is.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Yeah.
another
The
one
driving
right there.
back toward the,
Yeah.
all right, so do you need this one in the front?
So my only rationale behind this was that at one point, this was a livery service, so it was used as, for cabs, and before that, it was a horse and carriage.
Oh,
Actually, two
cool.
carriages sat in here, and the horses were around a paddock in the back. And the owner of the building came and told me all about it, and I got a sort of a linear history of who owned it, and it was really nice, actually. But back in the day, when 95 didn't really exist, there was a road there, and then this was a way of getting in and out of New York. So you would hire a service basically to take you into New York, or wherever you had to go. But the idea is that these carriages would go right in and out of here. So there is a long tenured use.
That's a good point.
And you could say that there's a bit of a hardship in terms of my business because these slabs are so large that I'm doing that to actually remove them from the truck out in front here is a bit unsafe to people walking along this sidewalk. The safer thing to do would have them be entirely inside the building where I can then manage all of the slabs, all of the safety, anything that occurs within the structure, not in the public domain. So that's my thinking behind this, but again.
You gotta tell it to the other guys.
Yeah, I know that's not here.
No, good practice.
Yes.
Good.
Great.
Yeah,
Taking
case
notes.
is good for us.
All right, great.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Chris.
Thank you. All right, so next up is Cloud 10, which I don't have the ARB or the viewpoint for that airbag on hand.
All right, hold on, let me catch up with you here.
So I'm hoping you can pull that up.
So, Cloud 10, I do not have anything to pull up, unless somebody can remember. I did ask the Cloud 10 folks if they could print.
at 6 o'clock.
Did you print it? Because you missed my little introduction when I first said that I lost all computer capabilities, connection down here, no internet. Finally got internet working here. The gentleman from Channel 79 is witness. It was a lot of fun. But I went through the Darien regular public website, but I can't access my Outlook. So I don't have your,
Do you have the emails?
no, I can't access any email
I might be able to.
from here on this, depending how, you may have some magic there.
Is-
I did restore internet, but I can't get it.
Is the window, or sorry, is the emails just about the window change, dumpster enclosure, site plan, guardrails?
Yeah.
Yes.
Vacuum enclosure, and, alright, so I have that email.
Yeah,
Alright, I
I
think this one's an easy one, we all agree?
I
Wait,
don't
wait.
know where that's supposed to go.
That's
So
the right
let's start,
part.
okay, so let's start
Sorry.
with this. Can you please introduce yourself?
Sure.
And remind us the address, and hopefully we can find, the,
I have most of it printed out, I was on short time frame. This was an informal email back and forth.
yes,
Turned into a sprint to FedEx, so apologies if it's not perfect. My name's Brendan Johnson. I founded Cloud 10 Smartwatch. We're building at 54 Post Road. We just started demo a couple weeks ago. It's the old Bertucci's building. So we have a couple minor, I call them the administrative kind of changes.
Sorry, Brendan, you're the owner of Cloud 10?
The CEO and founder.
I see, I just tried again. It was
And this
Microsoft.
was, just for clarification, this goes back a ways, that was Bruce Pinefeld,
Yes,
The design?
Bruce has done
Yes.
everything. And
so it's the big wedge
Yep,
coming.
that was the,
Yep.
out.
the
you guys gave us
sculptural.
the
artistic
very
license,
sculptural.
so we had a little fun with it.
Okay.
building.
Considered new business?
Is it old business now? Yeah, that's a good
It's a
question.
revision on an old business. I mean,
Yes.
it was looked at before, approved in terms of overall. It's actually, they're going through the ZBA. You haven't finished with the zoning board of appeal for the variance on the size of the letters on the sign. So they're not through the zoning board of appeal yet.
So
Okay.
you guys were kind enough
It's
to,
technically old business.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm?
it's technically old business. Okay, sorry, I was
Yeah.
just illuminating for
no, no.
our minute taker over here. Okay,
So where should I start? Just,
Well, I think maybe you start with what was approved and what you suggesting to change, and we can try to describe, or if there is any sort of other computer access. There was one round window that was in the back of the building for.
yes, and I think the email that was,
That was
Good to
changed
go.
into a square window.
Square window,
Liz
so-
looked at it, she thought it was fine. It's not really, I mean, if you guys have questions, I mean, it's been
So-
forwarded.
yeah, very simply, they have a, Bruce, my side of the brain is this side, Bruce is this side. He made it look really cool and nice and had a circular window. That doesn't really work for a safety perspective. We need a 4x4, we need to see what's going on with moving cars.
yeah,
So we wanted to make that change, I think that's a
yeah,
check the box.
Proportion was the same.
Second was in the back, and I think it's worth handing these out. Because I've got a couple changes on here. John, will you help me here?
So that was, now we're talking about the dumpster?
The dumpster and,
I don't know.
So you can just share for
Do you have
everybody.
more than one site plan?
we got Tony. So the changes we were asked to note in red. So change number one is,
The library?
so
Following you, but, okay.
if you look at the yellow highlighted part, so this is a steel guardrail that is backed up to the Range Rover dealer. So it's on the other side of the building, you don't really see it. We thought this looked a lot nicer. It's named after the Merritt Parkway, and it's a lot more rustic,
what was originally,
Metal.
steel,
Metal.
like go to I-95 or whatever.
very,
it's on the
very,
side.
yeah,
very,
this
was
much
it with
nicer.
the,
Yeah.
with the wave?
Yeah.
Was the original or was it straight?
It was, hold on.
Well,
I got that
anyway,
too.
I was curious if we were taking something that was very modern and making it.
I believe it was
I
the
think it was
metal
old.
posts with the two
With the tube,
things
Okay.
go on it.
okay.
Typical 9 to 5,
Yeah, typical, it was.
It looks like a Frank Gehry.
Yes,
Yes, that's where, or the Apple Store.
yes,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Apple Store, yeah.
Yeah. And then.
Very, it's very.
Here, I'll
It's
show you.
also,
It's a half sunken,
Wow,
yes,
okay, there we are.
so this is what I'm asking.
Yes. So modern meets rustic.
So I'm glad you,
Tucked into the.
Tucked in the back.
You don't have any internet anymore, so I gotta.
That's right.
so the picture, in this picture, we just, to be complete, we've got a picture of the window change.
Well, there's a lot of grasses, the landscape was,
I like that.
There's a couple different things that's asks, but there's a bunch of different.
Yeah, I got it, thanks.
Okay,
oh, so this is the.
so ask number one. Ask number one is to replace I-95 with this. No one sees it, it's in the back. I
Yeah,
think it'll look a lot nicer.
that's fine.
Ask number two is in the back, so if you look at the bottom
Oh,
left,
this,
that's the dumpster. We already have it heavily landscaped. Sorry, this is, I'm on the big guy. Does everybody have a copy?
Dumpster? Yes, all right.
There you go.
I see the dumpsters are here.
So, Post Road is here, we saved all these trees, this is the building,
No one's seeing
this is the
dumpster.
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 So,
Yep, yeah, okay.
when we originally came in, you all were generous enough to let us have a little artistic license in making this a fun building. That's the good news. The bad news for us is this outer fixture is a fortune.
What?
These panels.
Oh,
They're a fortune, number one. Number two, unlike any other business, this gets abused every day. So the analogy we're asking to take the panels off of the dumpster and the vac enclosures and have them painted the same as the colors of the building. And for those, I was thinking of an analogy when I was back there. It's like I'm putting Philip Jeffrey wallpaper in the I-95 bathroom. It's gonna get trashed in 3 days. Plus, you're never gonna see it because we've got landscape all around it. So the landscape plan already covered hiding it and keeping it, and it's already way in the back. Why put super expensive
you're doing it
panels?
here and here and here?
Dumpster here,
Yeah, and the two vacuum
these are
enclosures.
the vacuum enclosures.
And the shrubs that go around these enclosures are at the same height as the block surround?
I don't have the landscape plan with me, but there was a lot of,
Because there's one thing to put shrubs, and then there's one thing to block the block.
the problem is, I think, my 2 cents, I think you're gonna want us to shrub up to about here. This is 8 feet tall because you're not, there's two opposing forces. You don't wanna hear these vacuums. So we've got mufflers on them, they're super quiet, they cost like $1 million to be quiet. But to cancel the noise out once and for all, we've got them 8 feet high, which is what everybody wanted.
Yeah.
So, let me show you a picture of what they look like.
These are short, this is grass,
Yeah.
so grass is the tallest.
So this is in a more industrial area.
This is viburnum. But these are low.
So,
You like it?
so, to go.
No, I was just looking at the vacuum.
You'll see the block right here unless they switch out,
So
for
vacuums, you don't see the vacuums. Those are
Would you
just
switch out the planting?
unless they switch out the
You-
planting.
They're vacuum booms, so the vacuums come off there.
Okay.
So you trade
Yeah, but it's
30 minutes of
I'm
your
not worried
time.
about this is tough.
It's better, faster.
And you're really gonna see
smarter.
the
You're
doors
in and out
before
in
you
4.5
see the.
minutes, and I don't care if
That,
it's
and then the viburnum, like,
Saturday
it's
after
not an evergreen,
Thanksgiving,
but
it
the
just snowed.
sticks, it's in the corner.
So this is,
I could
you're
usually
seeing
tell
this
that,
from the
but
post
that's-
road, I'm just trying to
That's
get.
gonna be
Yes.
just a post road, you're
Little
gonna
bit.
see.
Well, you're not
the
seeing-
back of it.
You're
Yes.
inside the
Off
site
the-
already,
off the
but
road.
the
You're inside the
post road site.
The post road, we kept all the trees,
Okay, got it.
so there's another view, I think.
There we go, okay,
And,
got it.
so this is mixed
And we're going to
campus.
goes back to the variance for the sign.
So this is
This
actually,
is
no,
what we
this is
want.
mixed campus,
I
this
don't
is
even think we
high.
have it
If
here.
this is
I
40
think we need to
miles,
be concentrated.
Yeah, okay.
What is
So-
business?
this you'll only see
So, this
for
is
3.5
the
months
typical
a year,
Yep.
as long as he doesn't.
dumpster, and it's very similar to the vac enclosure.
Mhm.
So this is all
So it's still-
landscaped and
but you're still
Darien.
gonna see blocks.
Yeah, so it's a concrete block,
You do this-
thing.
it's
Yeah,
like-
you don't wanna
Concrete block.
put these panels
Mhm.
on this,
Understood.
because they're gonna get
So we
trashed by
asked if they
customers,
can,
Right.
and we're gonna be
On
replacing
that,
them
at
every
least
six
on
months.
that side.
on this
yeah.
side,
It's just
on
not-
this right side.
We didn't think about it, this is a,
But they're not gonna be seen anyway.
they're not gonna be
Yeah,
seen
that
anywhere.
is all
Why-
it is.
yeah.
But the dumpster, yeah, I don't think that's a big deal,
Expressed to me.
but the vacuum enclosures are,
That's what we're talking
More
about,
visible.
yeah.
so I mean, this especially is visible. But actually, we've got how many conversations going on right now?
Yeah,
They're kind of like the first thing you see.
yeah, that's what we're talking
Okay,
about. This,
exactly.
this is the most prominent off of 95, so, I mean,
Post road.
I would, sorry, Post Road. I would like to see that at least clad in something that,
That's where we're just,
We're-
yeah.
that and
Good,
even.
too many
I like it.
conversations.
And
I like
even,
looking at
and
that.
maybe even that, maybe not the backside, because it faces, the Range Rover, but these are gonna look like little jewel boxes, right? In your parking lot, that are gonna be highly visible against this really cool building.
Yes.
And concrete block, even if you paint it. And
Well, that's why
Yeah,
listen, we're open to, I'd rather landscape it
Yeah.
heavily.
but the landscaping even, I mean, it's seasonal, right? The leaves on at least the planting that's proposed here it's gonna lose it for a few months out of the year, so, winter is pretty desolate looking here, and, I mean, I think, it's worth the, I mean, you're not, first of all, when you first plant it, it's not, even if it's gonna grow higher, it's
No,
not,
I agree.
it's gonna take several years, so.
This one I
That
think
one-
is a waste.
yeah,
if
we
you
don't- yeah, we
agree
don't-
with
yeah,
that.
we agree.
This one I think looks nicer.
Yep.
Yep,
Agreed.
If you want it on these three sides, we'll do it.
I mean, honestly, I'd be fine just doing.
I'd be okay if it was just this,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Which one?
and this one, the
This
one
one?
that's,
Oh,
Visible
fine,
from-
And
okay.
in fact,
from the post
yes,
road.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, yes, just
That's
this
easy.
one.
So do it on here, this will just keep with the,
with the
Yeah.
planting.
Yep.
okay.
The only other thing I would kind of suggest maybe, is this is pretty low, the switch, I guess there's some switchgrass here, but maybe some of the miscanthus that's here, add it here, so it's a little bit taller. But that can be
Whatever you want.
yeah, cause this is pretty low. Otherwise, yeah, I think we just make that one pretty.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to form, again,
I just
I'll be
didn't
like
hear.
the other guy, do I vote or anything? Do I write this down and you want these shrubs here, or do we do an audible as we're?
I will write it up in my approval that, I mean, do we like this plan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
Yes.
keeping one, we're cladding one,
Yeah,
we're
cladding.
doing the other two, okay. So it's going to be a favorable report, and then in there I will,
Question,
yes.
the round to the square window is included in this
Yeah.
change as well.
Yeah,
yes.
So comments on that northeast elevation,
Yeah,
I'm
we
fine
look-
with it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we look at it, it's okay. It's fine.
That one's
so
really
that-
important up front.
Yeah, the guardrail is good, the jumper zero inclusion is totally fine. Yeah, so I will just write that up in the report, to just switch out, yes. Is that,
Well, there's the construction fence that you may want to talk about.
Oh, yes.
This is
Oh,
first
construction
part.
fence.
this was
So
part
I think-
one, sorry,
I think
yeah, part two.
we could separate both, because the construction fence is part of the project, but this is really old business
Yep.
that is being modified.
Yes,
Now the construction fence is new business, as in, when did you send me that first thing this morning? So,
Yeah, we revised
it's
it. The
pretty
problem
new.
is the guys at FedEx couldn't print out that much that fast.
Right, and you may have to come back and revisit it.
I can show you on a laptop. We took
hold on.
Corbin District and we copied it, basically.
So the idea is around town, and we knew that was gonna set some precedent.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a
The-
bad precedent to use?
The fence,
No, it's
construction
not.
fence
It's a good
is,
one.
This is
well,
what
this
we,
one is the old one.
That's the old one.
But maybe you can, Brandon, can you send it to
Anna,
Anya?
A-N-N-A,
Oh, yeah. But we
dot
approved it.
Janice, J-A-N-I-S,
So, I mean,
at gmail.com.
it's on Facebook.
Do
Yeah,
you
I-
want to discuss this now?
I think I think Irving needs to weigh in on this.
Do you want to discuss
because-
this now or no?
So we can talk about it just a little bit. The construction fences around town with Corbin and Sedgwick loft have evolved into a bit of a marketing tool, I want to say, and advertising, but they have to be under control, right? The size of the lettering is as bad or as good as on a sign, because those construction fences stay up for quite a while.
Right.
Banners are not permitted if they're 30 days or less. So there's no need for permit, sorry, it's not that they're not permitted. They do not require a permit if they're less than 30 days for grand opening and blah, blah, blah. But as soon as you have more than a month, which this is gonna be the case, for the entire demolition and construction, then it becomes an
So they
approval
read your-
by the ARB because it's part of the character of the town. So, I reiterated to Brandon that, and that's correct, I'm correct,
Yep.
your name, right? That there can only be one panel with some information, just like at Sedgwick, but no phone, no website, just a QR code and the name coming soon, Cloud 10 Car Wash, perfect. Then it could be a few renderings, just the same way as Corbin has been doing, but they've done a lot of renderings, but that's just because it's just a rendering, work rendering play. And in between, some opaque or some not opaque, but just blue mesh type
Right.
neutral background, because it's 200-foot long
It's very
of
long.
this construction fencing. Now, it is more attractive than seeing a pile of dirt and a bunch of pipes and things, so you know, you have some screening, but it needs to become something that's kind of tamed.
Okay, just from a Procedural, yes.
Yep.
We don't have a viewpoint on this, and we
That's
don't have
correct.
an
He has,
application.
Brandon sent it to me this morning, up for discussion, I think maybe to get a direction. I'm not sure we're gonna vote on it tonight.
All right, yeah, so I think we can weigh in here and
Especially
say,
since we can't see
if
it on
we
the
like
screen.
the direction, and in general, if we do like the direction, then that might be something that you can just go ahead and administratively approve once the paperwork has all been submitted, and it's given a viewpoint number. Okay,
People driving by, they're gonna
Yes.
try to see.
Option one.
option one, yes,
Okay.
option one.
I
Option
can see a
one?
website easier.
We're good, you're good with option one?
Yeah, that's why.
That was easy. Thank you. And we'll make it look tasty. We want
Can I
it.
see option one?
Yes.
I look at that every day.
Or prepare yourself on that.
Walk by, I think
Dave,
I am,
is that a good?
I'd like to,
Yes, you agree?
Yeah.
Sorry.
can I,
Given
can I
thought,
just,
procedurally?
Because you're just, that's a safety while driving.
Thoughts?
They don't like it.
QR
Say it again,
code.
I think they won't do it.
No.
It's procedurally, it doesn't have a,
You want me to upload this?
it doesn't have a viewpoint number or anything else, so I asked Hervé to, once everything is uploaded and has an
I'll
actual
circulate
application in
it. I'll
there.
make sure to circulate it.
I'm a little concerned this is setting a
Okay.
precedent that people can just shoehorn stuff in. All right? So, while I appreciate the enthusiasm and, the design and everything, this is basically hijacking the meeting to get something in that needs to go through the proper channels.
Oh, good point.
I think we're here to ask what those channels were, really.
Oh, that's
That's
fine,
fine,
yeah,
yeah.
but I'm concerned that this is getting kind of worked in.
We'll take your
Why?
tip.
And I'm totally supportive of it, don't get me wrong, but we
As a
need to do this
discussion,
in the proper way.
It's brought in as a discussion item to give direction and feedback, which I think Brendan received. And I believe it would be better if it was made into an application for next month, but at the same time, you can live without 4 weeks on those. By the time they fabricate them anyway, it's gonna be a couple of weeks.
It's a
before they
month
make
and the
fence.
ugly building's down, so
Well,
check, one box.
Yep.
So you're not gonna see anything for the night, it's all
Right.
subsurface.
so at
work.
least you can come by, you have a viewpoint, you can even, have it on the screen, and then we all agree and we make it a favorable.
That's totally
report
fine.
In June, it's June 17, which is kind of a quick turnaround, because I think the June starts on a Tuesday, so it's very quick. Whenever June starts, it's like the 17th is the ARB, so it's very, very early.
So we'll take option one, upload it
Yep,
through the normal system.
yep,
How about the prior things?
that's approved.
That's old
That's
business.
perfect.
That's
Okay.
gonna be,
That's all
that's gonna
business,
be
that's
written
all.
up, and I'll make sure you get the.
Okay, that's all we have. You want me to collect all these?
Yes.
I'll keep one.
I was trying to interject there, and
Listen,
it's just everybody was
we
talking.
didn't expect to get that far.
I think we're all trying to put
I'm good with
I know,
Thank
I
you very
know.
much for all your time.
Thank you.
All right.
You good?
No, but my point is, then
you're right.
people will see it as an opportunity on a future meeting to do the same thing.
Yes, and we have had it happen.
Okay, so now,
Yes. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone, for the feedback.
Thank you. All right, and then our last agenda item for today is the Heights Crossing lighting site plan. At Heights Road, and that's V20. John, take a stand.
Why don't you come up here, because
Kevin,
Emotional
wow.
support.
There you go.
right, I didn't have anything to present, so it's okay if I sit down.
Yeah, that's fine.
I brought a couple things.
John McCarroll from B20 Group. Herbie called and said you guys wanted to understand a little bit more about the lighting plan. So I sent Liz, Hervé, and Kevin a series of pictures from today where the landscaping is going in and the light poles are going in. But because we probably have 20 light poles up already with, if I had to guess it, probably another 15, 20 to go. So you have the design, just the prior page right there. If you look at the ledger, it has like a symbol. This is the Mad Pop scheme. And I think it's the one over here. There's a, no, that's trees. There's another one in this,
You think that's,
it's in the ledger, but he has where all the light
yeah,
poles are
with the
going.
14 foot and 10 foot.
Yes, 14 foot and 10 foot, exactly. So in the courtyard, there, which is really the plaza space, those are 10 footers. And in the parking lots and up and down Heights Road, those are the 14 footers. And I think what's different on
You said
Heights.
14 foot and 10 foot, that's the height of the light pole?
Yes, I'm sorry. I think what's different for that area is, you know, maybe you guys remember, but I don't remember any light poles. Like, we put light poles in front of the Wells Fargo on height, plus we had to widen that sidewalk and put in the trees. And because we had to put the trees in, the sidewalk, ended up, the sidewalk's like pretty wide as it is now. But, so the light poles are now in front of Wells, they're done. And they're starting to move them from the entrance to Palmer's, starting to move them west. And so a couple of those are in. There's only one in the parking lot we actually really own, the Palmer's parking lot. We keep call it the Palmer's parking lot because that's what everybody calls it. But I think there's like one up in there, and there'll be light poles all throughout there. And it's the style you had up minutes ago.
Sorry, John, that is the plan. This is down here.
That's
new
it,
10,
yep.
New 14, side bollard and garden bordered light. You just have to really kind of peel your eyes to see
The little X's are hard to see.
Little square with a cross in it is here. It's a 14 foot, and then now when you start looking at them, you go, oh, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. They're here. So they are in the plan, but the plans are you know, they're tight. I'm going to use
Yeah,
that.
these were done by Matt Pop.
Right.
So everybody, this is the only plan we have
The
that shows
the
lighting.
only thing that's different from this plan is where we collectively all agreed that we needed to change hollow tree with the tree species and such. So that was redone and,
With the Goddard square.
yeah.
Does this plan show walls counted?
That plan, I don't think.
I don't think it showed, I was looking for them, I didn't see them, but they're all, I took
Yeah, I've seen
I
it.
took pictures of the wall sconces and I sent those to you too, Hervé.
They're not
to
listed
Liz.
here, and they're not shown there.
So that's the type of thing you're looking for, all this,
Yeah.
on the
Yeah,
building
like
lighting.
where's the, you know, it's one thing site lighting, but what's the building lighting? What's the architectural lighting?
I think you could see also from tonight with Kevin, with the meetings, if we knew where the lighting was, we could help with approving the signs with either they're lit or they're not lit.
Well, there was a proposed location for a Heights crossing, not a monument sign, we had that discussion, we eliminated that concept. But just something that marks it as the, you know, the name of the complex. And in discussions, I don't want to jump words in your mouth, with Liz and Kevin, Liz would really like to see it on the curved wall, raised lettering on the curved wall. And we could do that. The entrance was where we were originally thinking, you guys wanted stonework underneath it, which we were prepared to do. There is electricity right, even though there's plants there now, there's electricity right there. So we put the conduits in and we can do spotlight, we can do some type of illuminated light sign. I mean, there's plenty of electricity.
Joe, just jump in real quick. I think what you're looking for is what the lighting on the building's gonna look like,
Yep,
where it is.
That's it.
Not the
That's it.
monument
That's it.
sign, nothing
That's
else,
right.
not the street signs.
That's right.
But what,
And also
where the
recessed lighting.
location,
The
Where are the sconces?
the
where
Where's
the
lighting,
the
sconces, where's the job,
That's
like.
right. Where's the
that's-
architectural
that's what
lighting
they're
part of the
looking for.
building?
so I'll just leave it there must be a sconce plan someplace. But the lighting on the exterior of the building on Heights is just coming from the streetlights.
Okay.
They just wanna see where the lights
Okay.
on the building are.
That's,
But
So you're saying there are no
sconces-
lights on the building
There's no-
on Heights Road?
No, you have these, the 14-foot
The-
poles.
the
with-
poles
and
are-
they-
that's
they-
it.
They throw out a lot of lights.
So, that's fine, but it would be good to understand where are the other locations of the sconces on
This-
the property?
The sconces are all, well, that's fine. The sconces are all in the interior courtyard area.
Okay,
That's
So-
where they are.
but it's great to see it.
Yeah.
What does that look like? Because then that helps us better understand, how does that interact with the signage? Whether it's a monument sign, whether it's the tenant signs, and it just gives us the full picture of the whole.
But you have it
Development.
for the light poles, which is the majority of the lighting. The sconces, I mean, I can kind of give you some sense of it, but you'd rather see it on a piece of paper, which is fine.
Yes,
Which
we'd
is,
like to see it on this
there's,
paper.
there's one here in this corner, there's one there in that corner. There's at least two underneath this bridge. I showed you some pictures on that earlier today.
And then you have a bunch of recessed under that bridge, you mentioned?
Tons of recess.
Tons
Yeah,
of
I
recess.
think,
Yeah.
you know, a
Right, yeah.
lighting plan, we don't need
Yeah. Just the lighting
renders, we
plan.
don't need
Okay.
pictures, just a
Okay.
lighting
Ask
plan
someone to
with
do
a
it.
legend, that's.
Okay.
I'm
most
sure
of us
you have it already.
That the
Well,
building
Right, you
is-
have to have it,
They
you have to
install
have
it.
it if you have stuff
They had
installed,
to
so.
install it, so
Yeah.
they have to have a plan.
Right,
So-
so
Yeah.
if
It's
you
gotta
could
be on
provide that
CP,
to us, then we'll have a clearer picture of
Okay.
the whole.
That's all.
Were you supposed to talk about the signage for the entrance?
The monument
I mean,
sign?
we can, it's up to you.
I dropped a picture in, the proposed drawings that, I talked to Liz about, the lettering on the curved wall. It's in the, it's in the application.
Which one? Which
It is.
application?
It is, I took a picture of the,
Do you know which
Yeah.
PL number?
I do.
Okay, good.
PL 25-40. I went to the job site and stole one of his bricks to the building. But I'm gonna give it back. It's just too
Yeah, you
heavy.
know, they're gonna be looking for
It's
you.
too heavy. They are really, 'cause
There's
there's,
cameras there.
Is that why we're missing bricks in that wall? There are
He
bricks
takes
missing
one
in
home
that
every
wall.
night, and he's been building something in his backyard.
Those
I didn't
bricks
have
were
it
there
back
a
to
week
put it
ago,
in.
I don't know what happened to them.
so all they've really talked about is putting a, this isn't that accurate, but I can, she talked about an oil rubbed steel, which she thought would be great. And
That'd be great.
Oh, that's nice.
I
Yes.
kinda, I
It's
did,
very
I
true.
Very
think
nice.
that's a little bit larger,
Well-
but that's the actual stone.
It is consistent.
That's kind
Is
of,
it similar, it's similar to.
Oh,
Darien,
the
yeah,
other
yeah,
two.
yeah.
Is that a white
Works
stone
with Darien
underneath the
Commons.
seat?
It's very
It
Is that where you
Very
stole
nice.
it?
Oh, but that
Um,
one's been, that's.
I did.
Speaking-
This
It's
is the
Corten.
break, this is the
Yeah.
break
Yeah.
he stole, you can
That's
tell.
Corten.
Yeah.
That's a
So
missing
the
stone.
commons
That's the missing
Corten.
stone right there.
yeah,
They
Just put
wanted a
another one
lit
instead.
sign, a halo lit sign,
yeah.
and
They-
they installed a halo lit
They
sign.
can't, they got, had to get rid of it.
And they had to get rid of it, and they went with the Corten steel. Is this supposed to be lit as well?
No.
Or, no, so this
No.
is just,
But
okay.
one of the reasons we
Maybe
thought
it can
about
be
the
light
black,
in the
because
grass.
eventually we're gonna
Light in the
propose
grass.
40 Heights down the street where Citibank is,
Mhm.
and Edward,
Oh, yeah.
they wanna go, they wanna propose a Corten steel, like a, similar to what I did at Gardner Center.
Oh, the panel.
The panel,
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't wanna duplicate it,
To-
obviously.
So would this be
Pin mount the letters into the brick,
black?
Yeah.
Acrylic?
like an oil rub black. No, we do, I would like to.
An
do
oil
steel.
rub.
The cool steel, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Looks
like
good.
a little,
So
So it'll be more
we-
durable.
yeah,
And the
It's
street
something
lighting,
hard
the
there.
pole lights should be able to
yeah.
light that up,
Right.
right?
Then what about the other side?
Or would it be possible to drop an uplight on that, or?
Up light,
Oh, you mean like
I
landscape
think we're
lighting?
gonna, I think
Landscape,
part of, so
full landscape.
I don't wanna say yes to anything on lighting, though this
Until we
is
know full
a,
lighting. Put
you
that
know,
on
this is
your
a
lighting
board, so
plan.
yeah, feel free
Yeah.
to tell me what you think, but my personal opinion on this is that we don't really understand how much lighting is going on over here, and I don't wanna add another lighting feature because I don't have, a lumen analysis of the site, I don't understand
We could add that later. probably.
where, yeah, but so
Yeah, I get it.
because I don't know how brightly lit this area is going to be, I don't want to add yet another light. We're trying to keep, at the end of the day, this is the crossroads into a residential area, right? And I do realize that for safety precautions and it's a main thoroughfare, we're across the street from the train station, but it becomes residential on either end very, very quickly, and so I don't want to have something that feels,
Right. And I
like a
think,
stop and shop parking lot.
Right, and I think the Darien Commons lights well by itself
Mhm.
without being illuminated, so
Yes.
that's what you're
Mhm.
saying, we don't need lights probably.
That's some sort of a lighting analysis document, which is, I like reading a foreign language. John, I don't know if you're familiar, it's actually in one of the drawings that I think, it has all the lumens and stuff you wanna show Anya, but that's just not.
probably to detect how much spillover goes into residential.
I know, look
Yeah.
at the lights.
That's a document that's in, that you provided in one of your
Yeah.
documents, but it's just not possible to
Lamps are
understand.
right under the, drawn under the canopy of the
It's
trees.
the best I could find.
Are the lights underneath they're underneath the
That's how
I
it's,
couldn't see it that way, but
yeah, I definitely
It
know it's
looks,
there.
it looks.
My eyeballs are good.
this is too far.
But other than the light poles, there's not that many
Once he
sconces,
said it
there really isn't.
square, I
And
could come out.
Right,
There's, I don't know,
Just
if
the
they
trees
I
like
guess,
This one, that's their whole,
Yeah, that was
that's
one.
their request for lighting plan.
it's just the sconces, because it's not, there really isn't.
That's all you gotta give them,
Yeah.
that's it.
I mean, one of the differences is that this building is so much closer to heights, so that the light you get from the light poles actually lights up
Yeah.
everything.
I know, they just wanna see what it
Yeah.
looks like.
In fact, there's a shade on the back of it, because it sits up pretty high and shine right into the apartment, so there's a
So it's
weird
not-
shade on the back side of every one of those poles.
And this is
Where you don't have that in the Palmer's parking lot, it's the same light pole, but it's, it's all the way at 360 degrees.
All right, so we'll get this sconce from, that's it, that's all they
Okay.
want.
So
Yes.
those-
Oh, they're not, so yeah,
that's the lighting analysis.
Christina, that doesn't look like it's, those dots are the poles.
Where the trees.
Yeah.
The trees, I think, were between the.
They're not, they're right on top, just
Okay.
if you go to the other drawing, I'll point them out.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, go to the site plan, the rendered site plan with the, yeah. No, I don't think it was this one. It
No,
was
the one that had the
Had
tags
the-
for what, like,
Right there.
Like,
posts,
Yeah.
like-
that's,
there you go,
yep,
right here.
sorry.
So, here's a square one right here,
Mm-hmm,
and a square one right here.
Oh, that's
This
where
is
the trees
tree.
are.
They're under the tree?
They're in the tree,
In the
oh, in
tree.
the
They're
tree.
part of the tree for now, I don't know. It's gonna be hard to do that.
How are you gonna manage the tree canopy
With a
with
light
the
pole.
lights?
That's a 14-foot light pole as well.
It's
I
a
mean-
14-foot light pole,
14 foot.
it's tall.
I think you're gonna have to put one.
You've got roughly dwarf trees, and I don't know what the species are. It's in the ledger, but I don't know what they are.
It doesn't,
Well, they're not, it's not coordinated, so the tree or the pole, something's gonna give. You can't put them in the same spot.
right.
so you have to move the trees outboard or the lamps outboard. Whatever. Mess 'em.
Mhm.
Cause then you can see the rest of them. They have
Yeah,
marched
okay,
down.
now,
And there's one, see the one, as it
These are-
turns out, hollow
these are
trees between the
bollards.
trees, you
Mhm.
know, and that other one is.
Mm-hmm.
These are bollards, I think, from what I remember, the,
Yeah, hollow tree, I've got 2 poles between trees, that's
Yeah.
yeah, that's a bollard light underneath it, and a tree here,
Ah.
in the center, that works.
Yeah.
So it's a bollard with a light?
There's a bollard with a light.
Yep.
I think it's listed in the light,
It's listed in the lighting.
but then there's a tree right above, probably right above it. Hopefully it's elevated enough, it's not a bush, so I think that's what these guys are looking for.
Guess what happened here?
Kind of a coordination.
it's a little uncoordinated, so it's hard for us to really get a full picture.
Done for later.
Construction can continue.
Got people moving in July,
There you go.
it's finally coming to an end.
Bakery's asking me how that front is going, so he's eager.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best baked mac and cheeses around.
Have you seen
Oh,
my
really?
blood from that? Not yet.
What he used to do was Raphael's Bakery.
Raphael's, it's gonna be
Yeah.
great,
Okay.
excited.
I heard good, yeah, I heard good things about that.
We only have one
And I've
space
not
left.
seen the
So
entrance,
what are we
what's gonna look like.
I
We
mean,
we're asking for a coordinated lighting plan of the site
With-
and
with-
architectural lighting,
Architectural lighting
In
and
order
maybe
to
one overlaid with the
make-
site design, or
Correct.
landscaping design.
landscaping design,
Right.
yep.
So one with just the lighting so we can understand what goes where.
Yep.
And then one that shows the
Yeah.
lighting and the.
lighting.
Yeah, and
site.
just to be clear, when I say architectural lighting, it's the stuff attached to the buildings, not site lighting, poles, bollards and things like that. It's the literal sconces, downlights, all that, and
Okay.
understanding what
Right.
their spread is.
And Kevin, once we have that, for each sign application,
Yeah,
maybe just do an excerpt of that lighting plan.
Yeah.
So every time, like P-Vol is submitted, we know where the recess
Downlights
lights
are,
are.
I'll
yeah.
include that with each one.
yeah,
Yeah.
it'll have.
This way, that'll help us move faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So as you'd expect, the building lighting, the sconces, the
Yeah.
down lighting and everything, that's done by the architect. But the
That's
perimeter
right.
Yeah.
lighting is all done by.
By the engineers,
By
yes,
the landscape
that's correct,
architect.
yes.
Landscape guys.
But
So-
somebody ends up coordinating that
Yeah,
stuff, so.
exactly.
Has to merge.
Someone's running the electrical.
Right.
Right, the purpose is to determine how we're lighting the signs at this point in time, you
Right.
know, so what the signage lighting is going to be.
And to be sure that the property isn't overlit by adding more lights on these signs or something
When you
that they
don't-
wanna do.
Yeah.
Or do we need to light the signs if they're not?
Right, if there's not
If
enough.
there's not enough,
enough.
That's right.
So that's
Yeah.
the reasoning behind this, because otherwise the plan has been.
Okay, so, well, what we, I'll have done then is I'm gonna strip out the landscaping and just so you can see the light poles.
Yeah.
And then we'll,
And the sconces.
and then,
Yeah.
you don't need to see the landscaping back in, cause it's already, it's there.
So-
And then I'll get the architects to do the sconces and the downlights and
Yes.
all that. And
I'm sure that plan
lighting
already
of the
I'm sure
entryways.
that-
It does.
Yeah, because the contractors are working for that right now.
Well, yeah, the architecture
They
will,
already got the
you know.
drawings.
Oh, of course they do,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's all they want.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Okay,
All right,
easy.
okay,
Okay.
great,
All right,
thank you,
okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, where are we at here? Okay, so we're on to, minute approval.
Thank you.
They
Yeah.
April?
were great for
Yep.
April, everybody read them?
Aye.
Yep.
Okay, approved, okay, approved. And that's it, we are adjourned, it is 8:30 on the dot, thank you
Yay.
all.
Thank you.